By the end of this video, you'll have a 5-step formula to clarify the messaging for your medical device. It takes about 10 minutes to work through, and it works, as we do this every single day. I know it's a big claim, so let's jump in.
Our system features a 3mm low-profile design with an advanced delivery mechanism, proprietary coating technology, and a compatibility with standard introducer sheaths.
For the purpose of this video, we'll refer to the device as Product X. Now, here's the same product after running through this framework.
Device complications during surgery increase the risk of adverse events and unplanned follow-ups. Product X reduces these complications by 92%, meaning fewer errors, more predictable outcomes, and patients recovering faster.
Same company, same product, completely different impact. So let's get into it.
Everything starts here. Not with your product, not with your features, with the problem your buyer is actually facing right now. Many, if not most MedTech companies, skip this entirely. They jump straight to what their product does. Your buyer doesn't care about your product yet. They care about their problem. If your message doesn't start there, they won't stick around long enough to hear about your solution. So, step 1 is simple. Write down the single biggest problem your buyer faces. This could be the clinical problem, the business problem, the workflow problem. It's a thing that actually costs them time or money.
Our device improves surgical outcomes is not a problem statement. Something like device complications are causing surgical errors and unplanned follow-ups is.
A good test is, if your buyer reads it and thinks that's exactly what I'm dealing with, you've nailed it. If they think, yeah, that's vaguely true for everyone, you need to get more specific. Now you know the problem. What does life look like after it's been solved? That's your outcome. And this is important. The outcome isn't what your product does, it's what changes for the buyer when they use it. There's a difference. The problem could be device complications cause surgical errors and unplanned follow-ups. So the outcome would be fewer complications, more predictable procedures, and faster patient recovery.
See how the outcome isn't about the device. It's about the surgeon's or your buyer's experience. Your surgeon buyer isn't buying a product, they're buying the outcome your product delivers.
Think about it from their perspective. They're not going to their procurement team saying, I found a device that has a titanium alloy frame. They're saying, I found something that will reduce surgical errors, improve the patient outcomes, and save hospital costs. That's the language your messaging needs to use. Now, and only now, you can introduce your product, but not as the hero of the story, but as the guide, the thing that helps your buyer get from the problem to the outcome. That is really the core idea. Your customer is the hero. They've got a problem, and your product is the guide that helps them solve it. You're not the main character in this story. They are. The message becomes, you have this problem, our product solves it, and here's the outcome. Problem, guide, result. That's the structure. Device complications are causing surgical errors and unplanned follow-ups. Product X reduces them by 92%, meaning fewer errors, more predictable procedures, and patients recovering faster.
3 sentences: the problem, the guide, the outcome. It's clear and it's specific, and it's about the buyer, which in this example is the surgeon, not your company. So your message is clear, but your buyer still doesn't feel that they can trust you yet. They've heard claims like this before from plenty of other companies. So the question is, how do we build trust into your messaging? This is where step 4 comes in, adding the proof that makes what you're saying trustworthy. Proof can come in many different forms. It can come in clinical data, case studies, testimonials, regulatory approvals, and published outcomes. The key is picking the proof that matters most to your specific audience.
For a surgeon, that might be clinical evidence. For a procurement manager, it's cost savings data. For a hospital administrator, it's probably a case study from a similar hospital. The proof changes depending on who you're talking to.
Interestingly, you don't need many proof points. 1 or 2 strong points are enough. The goal is to move your buyer from, well, that sounds good, to, yes, I believe that this is for me. And in MedTech, given the high stakes of the devices sold and the impact they can have on patient outcomes, this isn't just a nice to have section, it's an absolute essential. Not only that, as we're in a regulated industry, every claim you make needs to be backed up. If you say your device reduces complications, you need the clinical data to support that. Vague statements just weaken your message, damaging trust and ultimately your adoption. They can also get you into a lot of trouble. So have 2 to 3 proof points and reference everything: clinical data, published studies, and regulatory approvals. It builds trust and it keeps you compliant. In a 200-patient study, product X reduced device-related complications by 92%, resulting in fewer adverse events and more predictable procedures. See how that one line changes the weight of the entire message. Without it, you're making a claim. With it, you're providing the supporting proof and building trust. And not only that, your buyer or surgeon can take this to their board, their procurement team, or their clinical committee with absolute confidence. And this is one that almost everyone forgets about. You've got a clear message, you've clearly laid out your proof points, but your buyer finishes reading it and thinks, okay, so what do I actually do next? How do I work with this company? Every message needs a clear, simple, and low-friction next step, not something like contact us. It's too vague, and interestingly, often just too much commitment and uncertainty for somebody who's just learning about you or your product for the first time. Let me explain a little bit more. What do you think when you click this type of button? It could go something like this. What's going to happen when I click that button? Who will phone me back? Is it worth my time? Will they spam me? You see the problems. So make your CTA specific and easy. Something like book a 15-minute demo, download the clinical summary, watch the 2-minute procedure video. These are specific, low-commitment CTAs, and they will tell the buyer exactly what happens next, reducing the risk of clicking that button. And ideally, you don't just want to give your buyer one step, you want to give them a plan. This will enable them to see a simple path from where they are now to where they want to be, removing uncertainty and risk. And remember, if you don't tell your buyer what to do next, they likely won't do anything at all. And that's not their fault. Ultimately, it's yours. Okay, so you've done the 5 steps, you've written your message, now let's test it. Find someone who doesn't know your product. It could be your partner, a friend, or someone completely outside of the industry. Read them your message, then ask them 3 questions. Firstly, what problem does this product solve? Next, who does it help? And finally, what does success look like when this device is used? If they can answer all 3 questions clearly, your message is working perfectly. Well done. If they can't, I'm afraid it's back to step 1.
And honestly, it sounds like a simple test, but it's brutal. Most MedTech messages fail this test. The person either can't tell you what the company actually does, or they say something generic like, they make medical devices. If that's the answer, your messaging needs more work.
But don't be discouraged if it takes a few rounds. This is completely normal. The framework may be simple, but the work to get there isn't. This is captured perfectly in a famous statement often attributed to Benjamin Franklin, saying, if I have had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. Right, let's show you the whole thing in action. And I'm going to use us and one of our services as an example.
It could have said something like this. Podymos is a StoryBrand certified marketing and communications agency, specializing in the medical device and MedTech sectors, delivering innovative solutions across branding, content, and digital marketing.
It's not terrible, right? But it is vague. It says who we are. It doesn't say what we do for the client. Now, here's what it would look like after the StoryBrand framework. Step 1, the problem. Most MedTech companies struggle to stand out because their messaging just doesn't resonate with the audience. Step 2, the outcome. Clear messaging that's understood in seconds. Step 3, the guide. We're the only StoryBrand certified agency dedicated to MedTech. Step 4, which is the proof, and this is where we'd use a testimonial or something like that. Step 5, the CTA, and this is what you want your audience to do. So for us, it's book a free messaging audit.
Most MedTech companies struggle to stand out because their messaging doesn't resonate with their audience. As the only StoryBrand certified agency in MedTech, we create clear messaging that's understood in seconds. Book your free messaging audit and understand how you can make your device understood in seconds.
See, it's the same company, but completely different messaging. So there's the framework. 5 steps: identify the problem, define the outcome, position your products as the guide, add your proof points, make the next steps obvious with a clear CTA. So here's my challenge for you. This week, take your current messaging and run it through these 5 steps. Then do the 60-second test. If it passes, amazing, you got it right. If it doesn't, you now have the framework to fix it. And if you do it, I would love to see the results. Drop the before and after in the comments and I'll do my best to give feedback on as many as I can.
Next month, we're going deeper. In our next few videos, we're going to be rewriting real MedTech messages. We'll break down the features versus outcomes with real examples, and we'll show you how content can compress your entire sales cycle. It's going to be super insightful.
If you don't want to miss any future videos, subscribe to our channels. And if you found the video useful, drop a comment, like, and share with someone on your team. See you next week.